Hello everyone, this is Venkatesh, your faculty for geography. Welcome to Nirnay IAS, all of you. So, you have seen recently UPSC has conducted the prelims exam and the results are also out. I'm happy to tell you that out of my class itself, out of 13 questions, you can answer 10 in a direct way based on the understanding of what the discussions we had. I'll give you the source and all. You'll understand that how whatever the topics which we discuss in the class, how it will be useful for you. You'll get to know in this video and further the wonderful courses which we have at Nirnay IAS. So without much wastage of time now, let us discuss. So my dear, so there could be, before I discuss, one more thing I would like to tell you. There could be some kind of ambiguity here, which question, whether it comes under international relations, current affairs and all, that is always there. So anyhow, that discretion will always be there. But you'll get to know how the classes are ultimately useful for you to solve an MCQ, right? That is what ultimately matters. So with that, let us see. See, uh, I told you always in the class, the first thing which I tell you in the class is always what? Listen to the classes carefully, get conceptual clarity, right? Conceptual clarity. Now you see this question. There is a question asked on international date line. Now you can see here clearly in the classes, as I have discussed, I have told you that how there is a line of international date line mentioned here. You can see how we have, as we cross from Japan to America and America to Japan, how we gain and lose a day where from Japan to America, because the sun rises first in the east, then at the last at the Americas, right? You can see that you tend to gain time. So as you cross the calendar date, you gain a day. The same thing is represented here. So there is Anadir in Siberia, Nome in Alaska, a few kilometers from each other. When people are waking up and going set for breakfast in these cities, they would be different days. Why? It is Monday in Anadir and it is Tuesday in Nome. So Nome is in Siberia. Nome is in Alaska, Anadir is in Siberia. Now when it is Monday in Anadir, Siberia, that is this side, Alaska is in America, you gain a day. Yes, if you gain a day, what happens? It tends to, when it is Monday in Anadir, it is no, it is Sunday. You gain a day. That's why once again the same day is coming back, right? So that is the thing. Clearly in the topic we have discussed this. Anadir, gaining a day, lose a day. Remember my discussions in the class where I tend to tell you, if you are a introvert, you don't want it to celebrate how we need to go to New Zealand and how we need to go to Australia, America, California, and from there you need to come back to skip the birthday. That's what I told you. On a funnier note, I also tell you in the class, you wanted to run away from February 14th. This is the stuff which you need to do, right? So whatever we discuss in the class, sometimes the luck favors, right? So understand the class well, don't get confusion. Straight away you can get the answers here. Okay, the same thing I also tell you in terms of my, by taking you the diagram, by showing you, by explaining. I told you visuals speak a lot. In geography, I told you visuals speak a lot. So this is what clearly you can mention international dateline was discussed in the class. Then moving forward, now you see this. Which of the following are the evidences of the phenomena of continental drift? So we have clearly discussed here. You see the placer deposits, South America, Africa. Placer means nothing but the gold deposits. Gold deposits of Ghana are derived from the Brazilian plateau when two continents lay side by side. You can see here Ghana, and this is what we will call it the zigzag line, continental drift, clearly mentioned here. So definitely this is also a question which you can answer from our own thing. And when we have explained continental drift, I told you the Gondwana system of sediments from India is known to have its counterparts in 6 different land masses of southern hemisphere. You can count, you can identify the things: Antarctica, Australia, okay, Africa, South America, India, all these places you'll get to know around the 6. So that's what such questions we mention directly in the question. In fact, all the statements from the continental drift you can answer. This is the utility, my dear. You have to listen to the classes well. Whenever I teach the geography classes, I make it sure that you get conceptual clarity. And when we are in an online era, pictures speak a lot. Visual representation. What more do you need to have that strong foundation of conceptual clarity, right? Then move forward to the next question. Now you can see here, there is a question which they asked on isotherms, whether they bend towards equator or pole and all. You can see we have clearly written where do they bend, when do they bend, winter or in the summer and all these things. We have clearly mentioned winter what happens, summer what happens in the northern hemisphere, and we have already done this also. In the diagram also have drawn that January, February isotherms. How do the 0 degree Celsius as you move from America to Atlantic Ocean, Pacific Ocean to Americas and then into Europe? You have drawn the diagram, I have explained. And the students are clearly mentioning here. Very good. Yes, sir, understood. Crystal clear, says one student, right? So that's what the things are. So isotherms clearly mentioned in the class. You could have answered from this as well. And whenever we told you, remember the air over the oceans is warmer than the over in the land masses in the northern hemisphere, and that when we have discussed the specific heat of land and water, we would have discussed this clearly. So this is also a straightforward question which you could have answered, right? Moving forward, then you see next question. I told you we need to identify sometimes the trends happening. How many times I have told you? Are we shifting towards a mineral-based era? That's what I should say. Mineral-based era. Are we not talking about renewable energy? You can clearly see as part of this question, Chile, lithium. Chile, Bolivia, Argentina triangle, lithium salt pans. You can see the salt pans in the background. The Chile, Bolivia, Argentina triangle picture as well, which is being shown, which will help you to understand. That is there clearly. And what about the other things? Indonesia. When we have discussed about the deep sea mining, I have clearly told you that the deep sea mining is having a demand because we have concerns. You have see here, there is a picture also I have shown you. Nickel, Indonesia, rainforest deforestation. What do you mean by rainforest? Equatorial, Indonesia, deforestation, clearly nickel is observed. Even in the climatology chapter also I have discussed again. Nickel, Indonesia, this is also discussed. Lithium, Chile, this is also discussed. And remember in the class I used to give you a task to watch a movie called as Blood Diamond. I used to tell you how do countries like Botswana, South Africa and African countries tend to have diamond resources. I told you that Kimberley, it's near this, is South Africa. This is Botswana, very close to it. This is also resource rich. So I have mentioned that. So in that way also you could have answered. See, most of the things. See, when I gave you a task also, you could have understood that, okay, watching a movie is also a knowledge curve. Blood Diamond movie, right? So that's what knowledge is fun sometimes. And you never know how questions can be asked from UPSC and how we can easily answer. So that is the thing, my dear. Then moving forward, see, my dear, just like how we are very much successful in the helping in the students in terms of clearing their prelims exam, we have started with also the main sutra program. The same way we are now helping you in terms of the mains. Answer writing is very key for most of you guys. Some of you struggle. So I would definitely suggest you to go for all the answer writing program, right? You can get an optional subject of your crash course, which is recorded as well. You will get all the main sutra program, how it is derived. Do you remember in the class I used to tell you always, once you accumulate knowledge, brainstorming plus answer writing is what is the base, I used to tell you. Am I right? Brainstorming and answer writing, the same thing. As part of the classes, as you study and all, you would gain knowledge. We would provide additional knowledge. using that knowledge, there is a brainstorming, thinking approach which we need to have. In the exam, we don't have much time. So there is a thinking framework which will provide to you. As you provide that framework, as you get assimilated to it, you will write very well. Thinking, knowledge, thinking, writing, pedagogy, that is how we planned it. And you will have the selected officers which will be helping and all these things. You will have ethics which will be provided by our senior officer who is helping who is giving lectures, understanding about the dilemmas which are there in the society to the people who are already in the services. So imagine the examples you get, the practical ground reality examples from working from the practical ground realities. So you have ground reality examples which you'll get. You have our Ravi sir, which are also taking the essay as well. So you have all these things. So this is a program without evaluation, and this is a program with evaluation. I would suggest that people who are sincere in terms of preparation to get this course, remember one thing, my dear, people who could not clear the prelims exam now also should need to have proper answer writing. No. So next year you wanted to get proper answer writing, you have to get into this kind of stuff. Answer writing has to be done and dusted. Then only things might happen, things will move forward, right? So answer writing is very, very important. So I would suggest that people who are preparing for next year seriously, get into this mains. Complete your optional answer writing and all by November, December, and then focus on the prelims from the next year, January onwards. This is the right opportunity to get into these kind of services. And for the people who could not, who haven't yet taken the class as well, we have also the new foundation batches are about to begin. Okay, I would say that you have me, Venkatesh, discussing about the geography and the four big things: geography, economy, history, polity. You have four wonderful faculties, and it is not an exaggeration if I say that you have four wonderful faculties as a team providing you what is needed, the core foundations of UPSC preparation. Be it me, Dhanunjay sir, economy, Arafat sir, history, or for that matter, Kiran sir, polity. We are well gained expertise in the relevant subjects which we are providing to you the knowledge. So we have the foundation courses. The link is given in the description. You can go into those links. You can get those things. You can also use my code. Okay, if at all, if you need any further help, okay, you can use my code Venkatesh. And also, my dear, for that matter, in terms of your preparation, in terms of your guidance, unfortunately yesterday we have seen that the prelims exam result was done. There would be some people who would not have cleared. You need proper guidance. You can always contact me. Okay, you can just mail to me. Okay, emoney.venkatesh.faculty@textbook.com. You can mail to me. One-to-one interactions we can have it. I can help you in terms of guiding a proper strategy for the next year. Your first attempt, you are about to attempt, or you are having 3 attempts, 4 attempts are done and dusted. Don't hesitate in terms of approaching me. Okay, so we have a wonderful faculty, right? So using these faculties, you can get into the course, all the courses along with the mock tests, practice MCQs, everything would be provided and all to you guys. So I would suggest that you can use these foundation courses for the Lakshya batch, which was begun just recently, right? You can get into these kind of things, and the new batch is about to start. So I would suggest that get into this. Right. Then let us see the remaining questions which are there, the other questions which are being asked. There's a question which is being asked about the Andes Mountains travel to how many countries. You see, very clearly we have seen Andes Mountains. Look at me explaining Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, Chile, Argentina. And even after this, there is also a picture where I have explained about showing the South America map as well, which are landlocked countries and all, which are on the east and all. Even that will give you an understanding about how Venezuela is quite far away, right? How Paraguay is not part of this part of the Andes Mountains, you can clearly see, and then you can answer this straight away. You can see me explaining there, pointing the pen as well, right? So that is there. Then moving forward, of course, see, conceptual clarity, I'm very honest here. Conceptual clarity, whatever I discuss in the class, once it gets sink into your brain, it is easy to answer. Whenever it is a map oriented thing, it will take time. You have to repeat again, right? That is a challenge. That is there. But I'm just giving you the approach. Are we providing the right guidance or not? Even this is also a proper feedback to me. Ultimately, I'm a faculty helping you guys. So, am I, if I wanted to have a proper job satisfaction, I have to see whether I'm helping you or not. The same thing, right? So, whether it is for you or for me, ultimately, I also need my job satisfaction. You also need proper understanding. There is a inferent result, right? Now you can see there is a question asked about atmosphere gases, carbon dioxide, how they are absorbing and trapping radiation, how whether it is helping in the average temperature, how without this it would turn into a freezing point. You can see here clearly, without the greenhouse effect, Earth's average temperature would have been minus 19 degrees Celsius. Clearly, I have written also, right? So, I am explaining how the carbon dioxide is useful, how do the trap, greenhouse effect, and I am also telling you how do this greenhouse gas is very important for photosynthesis, carbon dioxide and all very important, how the temperatures would have been, the Earth would have been a minus 19 degrees Celsius temperatures, cooler planet without the effect. So, the diagram, the words, the things are clearly explained. You could have answered this as well using my class notes very easily, right? Then you can see there is a question which they are asking about the Earth's tilt. I tell you something about Milankovitch cycles. So the Earth's tilt and the Earth's rotation and the axis, they do have some kind of a change which is happening. Occasionally it happens. That is the historical perspective is what I am trying to tell you, right? As part of the Earth's tilt and all. So that will definitely give you an idea. And you can see that this nothing to do with the solar flares, nothing to do with this. And the Earth's polar ice melts, the word tends to be towards the equator. Now, this kind of thing, second statement and third statement, I might not have directly discussed in the class. Second statement is obvious. Third statement, I did not discuss in the class, but definitely 1 and 2, at least I have helped you, right? So that's how sometimes there is a direct, there is an indirect reference. Then we'll see further. Now you see here, International North-South Transport Corridor. Do you remember in the class, there is a certain thing of Red Sea crisis, which I have explained as part of the straits. And because of the countering the Red Sea crisis itself, we have International North-South Transport Corridor. We have discussed about a place called Murmansk n number of times, and also India, Middle East, Europe corridor, which is there. These are now alternatives to Red Sea. The same thing being asked here as part of the International North-South Transport Corridor, India to Central Asia to Europe via Iran, Chabahar Port. You can clearly see North-South Transport Corridor, India Middle East Economic Corridor, Chennai Vladivostok is what I am trying to tell you from the Murmansk, right? So all these are nothing but Red Sea crisis alternates to counter the terrorism and the Houthi rebels things, pirate attacks. I have clearly mentioned that is what the question is being asked. So North-South Transport Corridor, and as explaining, and later on I would be writing here something called as Chabahar Port. So people who are already listened to my class, you have the PDF also with you guys. You can also tell, right? Then moving forward, the other questions you can see. Now this is a very indirect reference, not directly. So there is a question asked about how do United States of America produces more ethanol and all, what is the source and all. You see here, ranching and all, temperate grasslands. This is what we are explaining about temperate grasslands, pampas, prairies and all. You all know temperate grasslands, USA, prairies. What is the source? Maize, sugar and all are there. I might have explained that as part of this, that in here you do find here something like corn. You can see here maize is grown. This is what here, maize, America, clearly mentioned. Brazil ethanol, I might not have mentioned it directly, but I told you that Brazil, sugarcane, very prominent. And we all know the era that we are in the era of biofuels also. So Brazil is known for sugar. That I have told you. You might have to indirectly referenced, not a direct reference. So that is there. Then the next question, you can see here, they're asking a question about the dust particles, how there are more in the tropical, subtropical areas. I have clearly mentioned here, when you are talking about the tropical hot deserts, this is nothing but 20 to 35 degree latitude, clearly mentioned in the class. Then you can see here, this is a part of the dry area is what I have mentioned. Because of the dryness, will be more amount of dust particles that is there. Dry, dust, agreed. Remember, I have told you n number of times, sirocco wind, dry wind, blood wind, dry Saharan. So we have mentioned that, right? So that way also you can have answered. Subtropical areas have less dry winds. No, they have significant dry winds, sirocco wind. That also can clearly be mentioned. So this is also a straightforward answer. You could have answered it. Direct question, right? And indirectly, there are other questions which are there. I have discussed artificial way of rainfall. I told you whenever there is talk about artificial rain and all, that is also there. Of course, this is not a geographical question. This is, I would say, as part of the environment, science and technology. Okay, very straightforward, where you can see the how do you get the artificial rain, right? So my dear, I would suggest that how we have helped you in terms of proper guidance. Okay, you can see the examples how I have explained, and please don't waste the opportunity. So people who have already taken the course for the answer writing and all, get now proper serious discipline, get into the answer writing program. And people who wanted to get a service of basics foundation and all, you can get into the foundation batch, which will be teaching by our wonderful faculties here. And not the least, but not the last point, but not the least point, you want any impact, you want any guidance, you can always contact me at my test or contact me. You can get into my Telegram channel where I have given those things in the other videos. You can interact with me. You have any doubts with respect to your UPSC preparation, please don't hesitate to ask me. With this, I will end the session. We'll get back again in another video. I hope you all have understood this. Thank you all of you. Have a pleasant day. Enjoy your preparation process.